how much you put into the game, how much work ethic are you gonna put into it every single day, day in and day out. I've never cheated the process on wanting to be great in this game. I knew I had a God-given ability, but that only takes you so far if you don't use that ability and start putting in work every single day.
While LeBron James has said many times clearly and with absolute confidence that he has never cheated the game. Those are his own words. Yet, when a respected analyst from the National Basketball Association pulls up video footage, highlights the scoreboard, and asks what exactly was happening during that fourth quarter, the quiet response from LeBron's side becomes impossible to ignore. That silence speaks volumes. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. At this stage of his career, do you believe LeBron is still fully focused on competing, or is he mainly chasing records until there are none left to break? Be honest. Next.
At what point are you gonna start showing his age?
Like 4 years ago.
Can you show the video of LeBron again, man?
Don't they look like that meme that put the cigarette in his mouth?
That's Miami Bron. He got the thin neck.
Some would call it the Ozempic neck.
At some point, you gonna start the season and then not play for 20 games and come back. You better not come out there dunking. I don't want to see no dunks.
So when people say, is he declining? We was in a league where when he jumped, his chin was over the rim.
Yeah, we know he declined.
Over the rim. Now, you see this. It looked good for them because they don't remember the guy who was sitting here looking at the rim. Now we see him on the fast break. We can see, yeah, he's slow, right? He used to be 110 speed out of 100. Now he probably, 91, 92? That was that LeBron. This LeBron, he does look old.
Let's address the reality of this situation. There is a version of this conversation where everyone chooses their words carefully, praises the legacy, and avoids the uncomfortable point sitting right in front of us. But Ric Bucher clearly had no interest in that approach, appearing on the board. He stated directly that LeBron James has remained in games late night for competitive necessity, but to reach certain statistical milestones, and that this behavior has happened often enough to start feeling ordinary.
LeBron James has stayed in games to achieve some sort of statistical mark so routinely now that we're almost numb to it. The latest being the oldest player to ever achieve a triple-double. Can't remember who they were playing. I just know that the game was out of hand. There was no reason for him to be on the floor. I believe Austin Reeves ended up grabbing 2 rebounds that LeBron wanted so that he could complete the triple-double and get off the floor.
Ordinary, not surprising. Not extraordinary, routine. That specific word carries weight. Calling a routine suggests this isn't an isolated lapse in judgment or a single moment that can be dismissed with context. Routine implies repetition. It suggests a recognizable pattern. If you have been paying close attention, you have likely noticed similar moments before and you immediately recognize the pattern when it happened again. The example of Bucher referenced occurred on February 13, 2026. LeBron James, at 41 years and 44 days old, was facing the Dallas Mavericks. By the end of the night, he posted 28 points, 12 assists, and 10 rebounds. The headline practically wrote itself, the oldest player in NBA history to record a triple-double neck.
We are set for action here on Prime. LaRavia to James, 3-on-1 developing. Board. 5-on-4, Williams slow to get up. James is going to hoist and hit a 3. He can do a whole lot with that in terms of creativity. Corner, Hachimura, bookend.
How good can your zone be adapting to what each other team's trying to do to you?
Shake and bake. James flings it up. It's good and a foul. He turns it over. James, the locomotive to the rim.
Unfortunately tonight.
In transition, LeBron James fighting through waves of defenders and he gets the roll. Hayes clears it. LeBron,
oh my, the same team.
Yes,
it's true. I don't want to create any divides between studio and booth.
Yeah.
The cameras quickly focused on him. The arena acknowledged the achievement. Social media erupted in celebration. Another milestone added to the resume. Another historic entry in the record books tied to LeBron James. Yet Ric Bucher looked at the situation differently. His argument was simple. The outcome of the game had already been decided. There was no competitive reason for LeBron to remain on the court. At one moment, it even appeared that his teammate, Austin Reeves, who had nothing to gain from helping secure a rebound, ended up collecting boards that LeBron had been pursuing to complete the triple-double before eventually heading to the bench.
The guy staying around at age 41 just to get an extra rebound, just to say in the history books, when everybody forgets how it was done, that he was the oldest guy to get a triple-double, that is stat chasing. That is undermining the statistical achievement. And with LeBron, he loves to say that he's never cheated the game. And it seems like not only with LeBron, but a lot of people these days, every declaration is actually a confession.
Think about that moment carefully. A 41-year-old player in a game that had already been decided, seemingly battling for rebounds with his own teammate not to impact the result, but to secure one final statistic that would complete a milestone performance before sitting down. And this same player has repeatedly insisted that he has never cheated the game. Bucher's response to that claim may have been the most pointed comment of the entire discussion. He suggested that some declarations eventually start sounding like confessions. The deeper meaning of that statement is powerful. When someone repeatedly insists they are not doing something, observers may begin paying closer attention to what their actions actually reveal. LeBron James has spent years telling the public that he has always respected the integrity of the game. Yet every time he remains on the floor during a decided contest to secure a statistical milestone, that statement becomes more difficult for critics to accept without question. Now consider the broader context. The Los Angeles Lakers currently hold a 41-25 record. They sit atop the Pacific Division and are riding a 4-game winning streak. In the competitive landscape of the Western Conference, they are a legitimate playoff contender. If LeBron's motivation truly centers on winning a 5th championship, the opportunity exists right now not as a distant possibility, but as an immediate goal within reach. Yet what dominates the discussion around him? Not playoff preparation, not leadership heading into the most critical stretch of the season. Instead, the spotlight falls on a historic triple-double achieved during a lopsided win against the Dallas Mavericks. That outcome wasn't random, it reflects a decision. If LeBron's sole focus were pursuing another championship, as figures like Rich Paul and JJ Redick often suggest, that Mavericks game would barely warrant mention. A veteran preparing for a deep postseason run, especially at age 41, would normally prioritize rest once a game is out of reach, allow teammates like Austin Reeves to collect their own statistics, preserve the body for the moments that truly matter. Unless, of course, the milestone itself holds significant value. Unless reaching the record book is part of a larger plan. Unless the careful shaping of a legacy something LeBron has managed with remarkable precision for over a decade remains a central objective alongside the pursuit of championships. Speaking of teammates, the current structure of the Lakers roster adds important context. Austin Reeves is averaging 23, 9 points, 4, 8 rebounds, and 5.5 assists this season, producing the best basketball of his career. Undrafted and overlooked, at multiple stages of his journey, he has quietly developed into a vital contributor for a first-place team. With a major contract year approaching, his performance is positioning him for a substantial payday. Then there is Luka Doncic, who is averaging 32.9 points, 7.9 rebounds, and 8.5 assists. By virtually every measure, the Lakers have become Luka's team. The coaching staff, the front office, and the fan base all understand this reality. Luka is the engine driving the franchise's current success. Where does that leave LeBron James? Statistically, he is contributing 21.4 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 7.0 assists at age 41. Those numbers remain respectable and productive, but they represent the output of a complementary veteran rather than the central force of the roster. The Lakers' 41-25 record is not primarily the result of LeBron's dominance. It reflects the impact of players like Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves. LeBron now functions as an experienced presence on a team that has clearly transitioned toward a new foundation. That shift makes the perception of stat chasing even harder to justify. When a player is the undisputed centerpiece of a team, some might argue that staying in a finished game offers marginal value, maintaining rhythm or setting an example. But when that player ranks as the third most important contributor on a leading team, the competitive explanation becomes difficult to defend. The conversation also extends to the records themselves. They have been accumulating rapidly. LeBron now holds the all-time regular season scoring record with 43,127 points. He is the first player ever to surpass 50,000 combined regular season and playoff points. In March 2026, he passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the most field goals made in league history. He leads the NBA in career playoff points and has recorded 152 triple-doubles, ranking 5th all-time. The record books increasingly resemble a personal highlight archive dedicated to LeBron James. To be fair, many of those accomplishments are the natural result of sustained excellence across an extraordinarily long career. His scoring records, in particular, reflect what happens when one of the greatest offensive talents in basketball history performs at a high level for more than 2 decades. That achievement is genuine and well-deserved. However, longevity itself is a strategic decision. When a player continues competing, partly because they are aware of their proximity to historic benchmarks, when records become part of the calculation, guiding minutes and opportunities, the meaning of those achievements begins to shift slightly. The situation involving Bronny James also contributes to the broader discussion. When Bronny was selected by the Los Angeles Lakers in the second round of the 2024 NBA draft, criticism appeared immediately. Many observers labeled the move as nepotism. suggesting that the franchise used the pick largely because Bronny is LeBron's son and because keeping LeBron satisfied remained a priority. Reports indicated that team owner Jeannie Buss was unhappy with how the situation unfolded publicly. The relationship between LeBron and the Lakers front office, which had already experienced tension during his tenure, faced additional strain. Eventually, LeBron's longtime agent Ric Bucher addressed the situation on ESPN, emphasizing LeBron's appreciation for the organization and his respect for figures such as Jeannie Buss and Rob Pelinka. That is a familiar form of crisis management in professional sports. The agent steps forward to stabilize the public narrative while hoping the controversy eventually fades. Yet the story has not disappeared, partly because it does not stand alone. Critics view it as part of a broader pattern of moments where LeBron shapes the circumstances of his career in ways that serve his personal interests while presenting those decisions primarily as efforts to win. The Bronny draft carries personal significance. Statistical milestones carry personal significance. Even the repeated assertion that he has never cheated the game relates to personal image management. None of this is inherently wrong. Athletes are allowed to pursue their own goals. The issue arises when those personal pursuits are consistently framed as entirely selfless. JJ Redick has argued that LeBron understands the importance of helping teammates like Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves perform at their best, portraying LeBron's role as fundamentally selfless. From a coaching perspective, such statements are understandable. Managing a locker room that includes a 41-year-old superstar with immense influence requires careful diplomacy, but critics point to actions rather than statements. Players described as selfless typically do not remain in blowout games, chasing rebounds for statistical milestones. They do not influence the drafting of their own sons. They do not require public reassurance from agents regarding the strength of their partnership with team ownership. Those behaviors suggest someone who is carefully managing a legacy while possessing enough authority within the organization that others feel compelled to portray those actions in the most positive light. In that sense, Ric Bucher argues that he is simply describing what the evidence shows. A 41-year-old superstar playing on a team already transitioning toward its next centerpiece, occasionally remaining in finished games to secure milestones while insisting that his approach has always honored the integrity of the game. The game, however, leaves a trail of evidence, and increasingly, those moments are being analyzed openly on platforms like Fox Sports by analysts, who no longer feel obligated to soften their criticism out of respect for LeBron's remarkable career. There is no denying that LeBron James has built one of the greatest careers in sports history, but even legendary achievements do not exempt a player from scrutiny. If you think this discussion deserves to happen openly without the usual hesitation, leave a like, subscribe for more content, and share your perspective. Is the careful management of LeBron's legacy finally becoming part of the conversation? Let us know what you think.